Hello everyone, welcome to the second session of Power BI. I hope you all are able to hear me. Okay, thanks for confirming. So just once going through the course structure for today, we'll be going through the Power BI desktop, the different components of Power BI desktop, and then I will show you a demo of connecting to data using Excel sheet, a web source, and some CSV files, and also how the query editor window can be used for various data modeling tasks. So let's get started with it. Here you see a blank Power BI desktop window. And as I explained yesterday, we'll just go quickly through it. We have three main panes, okay, in Power BI desktop. One is the report, which is the pane that you are seeing right now, where we draw any visualization that's used for reporting. So by default, we have one page, but we can add any number of pages to the report as per requirement using the plus icon here or using the new page on the top of the ribbon here you are seeing. So, and I can rename this page as per the requirement. For example, if it's the data showing sales, I can just write it as it is. I can create any number of pages as needed. Even if I want that there is a particular page, I just want to edit something in this page and I want to copy it, I can even use the duplicate page option or renaming page. And if I don't want to use that page, I can delete this page. And here, if you see, this is the area where we'll have all the tables and different fields that are used in the report. Is there a problem with the audio for everyone, or is it specific to Abdul? Okay, then Abdul, I think there's some problem with you. Okay, so here it's the fields pane where whatever data we import, the tables and columns will be listed on this side. Here is the visualization pane from where we can select any of the visual that is there. By default in Power BI, the charts and different type of scatter chart, pie chart, donut, and so on. Or we can even import any new visual from the marketplace or from a file that is there on our system. Whenever we have any visual in the report, this particular pane is the fields pane, which will show, for example, if I am having a chart, then what fields I put into the chart, that will be shown here. On the axis, I can pull any other field, a legend, and so on. This is the formatting pane, which will be for, again, any visual specific to that. For example, if I'm having a chart, the options are different. If I'm selecting the page, the formatting pane will have different options. So here, this will be mainly used to align maybe the title, the background color, foreground color, size, and different things of the pane. For example, if I'm selecting the entire page and if I go to page background, I can change the color of the page to something like, okay, blue. I want a blue background to the page. So I can do, so this particular icon that you see for format, it is formatting for different. Sorry, has someone gone on unmute? Okay, so this will be the format for different, and if you select any particular visual, then there is an additional pane called the analytics pane. This is not enabled for each and every visual, but depending on whether it's applicable, this pane will be enabled. And then there's a filters pane. Here we'll have three types of filter for Power BI. One is a filter on this page. So if I'm filtering, dragging any field here, for example, country equal to USA, then this particular page will be filtered for that USA, an entire page. If I can have any number of chart or table, everything will be showing data just for USA. If I drag that same filter, country equal to USA, in filter on all pages, then entire report, it may have 5 pages, entire report will be filtered for that. The name is very clear as it shows filters on all pages or filters on this page. And if I select any visual, then there is an additional filter that comes here, which is filter on this visual. So in that case, if I drag the filter, then only this particular visual will be filtered for that case. So this is how it is, the 3 types of filter. And here on the top, if we see the ribbon, these are the common option of save, save as, and so on. We can get the data from here also, or we can go to the edit queries pane, which is the main edit query editor, which we'll be discussing in further details today. And apart from that, there is an option such as if I want to insert a text box in the page, I can just select this thing and a text box will appear. I can write something as the header of the report, okay, title section, and I can move it somewhere. Or similarly, I can put an image. If I have a logo of a company or any other image that I want, I can just put in the image here, and I can browse the image from my system and put it in the report. Or different types of shapes. This is again for beautifying of the report, like making it more appealing. So I can use different types of shapes which are provided by Power BI. And if we go to the view pane, then this is something like yesterday I explained about the phone layout, or I can go to the desktop view. If I want to show the grid lines, or I want to show the selection pane is something like, okay, right now I only have a stacked bar chart and text box. How many visuals I have? I will get a list of all the visuals here just for quickly hiding them or showing them. So these all panes are disabled by default, but if I want to view any of them, I can just select it and it will appear here. This modeling pane will give me options of like creating a new table, new column, new measure. These are disabled right now because I don't have any data in the report. Once I have data, these particular objects will get enabled, and then we can work on that. Help is nothing but if any tool you have a help section. So this is just for documentation related to Power BI. So let me go into the edit queries pane and show you some demo regarding the connectivity of different types of databases. Okay, so before we connect to data, I will show you what type of data we are going to connect today. Here on my system, I have a folder called International where I have 4 CSV files. The format of the CSV file is similar, but it is something like I have a Canada sales data in one CSV file, Germany, France, and Mexico. If you see one of the CSV file, it is something very simple, just a few columns are there, product ID, date, zip, units, revenue, and country. So I have a similar format of file, but for different 4 countries. So I will show you different methods. One is importing the file one by one and appending it in the Power BI desktop if you have files not on the same folder. Second will be the option that I discussed yesterday, that we can also import a folder together and Power BI by itself will combine everything. So we'll go on both the approaches. So here in the query editor, I will go to new source, select text or CSV. I'll browse to the particular folder International, and I will select one of the files. Here it is. Since it's a CSV file and we know it can be delimited by different type of delimiters like comma, equal sign, and all, by default Power BI has detected that it's delimited by a comma, and data type detection is on first 200 rows. But if there is some change, we can change it here. If I know my data is not delimited by a comma but a space or a tab, I can change that property here. Right now I'll keep it as default because I know this is the correct thing. And here I get a preview of the data, so I also know now Power BI is splitting the data correctly as it is in the table. So I'll just click on OK. So this is how the data has come into the report. So we have got entire thing. Now suppose I want to add Mexico sales also here. I will similarly follow the process. I will go to text CSV and select this particular file, open. Now for the reporting purpose, it can be that we need this file separately. If I close and apply, suppose this is the only change I wanted, and I close and apply, I will get the data loaded here. Let me remove this visual for right now because I don't need it. So I can just select it and remove. So you see, we have 2 separate fields. One is Canada, one is Mexico. If my reporting was something, okay, I never need to combine this data, then this format is working perfectly fine for me. But suppose I needed a visual or a combination of, I wanted to do a comparative study. Okay, what is the total for Canada and what is the total for Mexico? And similarly, I have 5 more countries. Then it would be more helpful if I have a common table and which will have a country column, but it will be a common sales table, not a separate table. In that case, what I have to do is I'll go to the edit queries. select on Canada sales. And here we have an option called append queries. Append, as the name suggests, is used for appending multiple sheets or multiple tables into a common table. So here it can be, I can append Mexico into the same table, or I can create a new table which will be a combination of all of these. So right now I will create a new table, append queries as new. Primary table is CA sales and secondary is Mexico sales. If there is 3 or more tables, I'll select this option and it will allow me to select multiple tables. Right now it's just 2 tables, so I'll select this option and click on OK. I'll ignore the privacy levels right now, but if there in generally we have to give the privacy levels, like we can set it as organizational privacy level or private depending on your requirements. So if it's for organization specific, then okay, all files, suppose the first file is of privacy level organization, second is also of organization, then it allows to combine those. Right now I'm ignoring those privacy levels because these are just sample data. So right, you see this is the combination. Now the append one name doesn't look good, so I can rename it here also, or I can just write the name here. So let me rename it as international sales. So I have this common file. Now I don't need these files separately in the report. It is just required for the building up this combination. So I can also select this file and there's an option called enable load. I will just disable this one. It will say that disabling this will not allow the data, which I also don't need separately. So you see, if I it is going into italics. So similarly, we'll do it for this one. I just need the combined table in my report. So after I do this, if I close and apply, I will just have a common international sales table loaded into the report. So you see here, now if I select country and revenue, so if you see, now I have Canada and Mexico data together in the report because I have combined this. So this is one process of combining files, which is append queries. And this is if I have 1 or 2 files and I'm doing it manually. And it may be it is coming from different places. But another option, an easy option is, if I know I have a common folder on my system, which is international sales, and it has all the files, so I can also directly source the folder in Power BI and it will combine the files for me. So let us explore that option as well. So here you see, these are the 4 files, all the CSV files it has taken, and these are the different attributes of the file, the data accessed, modified date and all. I will say combine and transform data because I want to combine them into a single file. So here again, the same thing, it's just taking a first file as a sample file to decide what should be the delimiter and what should be the data type detection. I'll click on OK. These queries are generated automatically by Power BI, which helps it into the transformation and combination of these files. So finally, we have this international query, which you will see if you click on this column, source name, you will, and I'll click on load more. I want to see if all the 4 files are there, and it will show me the source name for all the 4 files, that is Mexico, Germany, France, Canada. Every file.csv is here. For if at any later point of time I just need 3 files, I can also deselect from here. I don't need this particular file, I can deselect from here also. Right now I'll let it be, but this source.name is of no importance to me for reporting purpose, because I already have a country field which detects okay which country the data is for, and it's always suggested for good performance and optimal size that don't keep any extra column in the report, because it also occupies certain space. So I will just select on this column and click remove. So this column is removed. Then there are several other columns. I can also format these columns per requirement. I can change the data type of any of those. For example, this is a date column, and if I want to change the type of this column, I'll just right click. You get this bar by selecting a column and clicking on right click, or you also get the options from the top pane here. For example, what I did, remove columns. You can also select and remove the column. You can just click on this, remove columns. It will remove it, or you can right click. So everything that is possible using the ribbon and right click, most of the option you will see, it's on the comfort level, how you want to use it. So I can just click this column, change type, and I can put the date. So here it will convert to date. There's an error because, okay, because of the regional settings, I guess this file is for international sales and my system has the setting as India. So 1 second, English India. Yeah, so it's not detecting MMDDYY format. Let me just change it quickly to English USA. It will detect that format also. United States. Okay. Now if I select this column and change type to date, because this is a date field, now it's converted to date. Rest other, I don't need any type conversion. Everything is okay for me. So this is the final data modeling. Other options are also available. Let me import one more file and there I will show you some complex data modeling. For example, the file that we are going to export is this. This is an Excel file that's there, but if you see it's not properly formulated or properly formatted, I don't need this top 4 columns. And even what I need in the report finally is there should be a country column, a year column, and the population. But this is not the format that the Excel is having data. And this happens a lot in practical world where the client, they give us the information which is not in the exact format that's there, which is required for reporting purpose. So one is like people go and manually edit the format or change it, or other thing is you can use this particular tool, Power BI. So I'll show you how this particular Excel will be formatted inside the Power BI for the format that we need in case of our reporting. So let me just take a new source as Excel. Now I have this data, but I have to format it. So one is I don't need the top 3 rows for sure. So I will select here. You see we have similar to how we have the option of choose and remove columns, we also have option of keep and remove rows. Here if I select remove top rows, I can enter how many rows I want to remove. So when I select on this, it asks me, okay, how many rows do you want to remove? I want to remove 3 rows. Then I'll click on 3 and it will remove the 3 rows for me. Now this particular thing, okay, I say that country name should be a header and it's coming in the data. So I don't want this. So there's another option which is called use first row as headers. So I'll just click on this and what it will do is it will promote the first row of data to header. So now I have country name and these are the different headers 1990, 2000 and so on as the header and the population. But this is not the format I need the reporting. I need country name, year as a column and then the population. So if you go to transform bar, here you will see we have the pivoting and unpivot option, which we use in Excel also a lot. So what we'll do is I will select country name and I will say unpivot all other columns. So there is an option of unpivot other columns. So you see what Power BI did. Country name, they created a column called attribute and a value column. Now this attribute by itself, it will not give any name. It's just the attribute and value. Now I can rename this attribute. I can just select here and write, or again, I can select here and click on rename. And then also I can change the name. So I will just give it as year. And this one I'll write as population. Now for sorting purpose in the report, it will be good if year is a whole number. So again, I select this year and I change the type as whole number. So this data is also formatted. I'll take a 1-minute break, and if anyone has any questions so far in the combination or whatever transformation I showed, then you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Okay, so if there are no questions, let me move to some other topics. Like I'm showing you the various transformation options that are available here. So one is suppose I have this particular file and I want to, I showed you how to remove a column, but if you know only I need 3 or 4 columns, you can use this option also, which is on the top called as choose column. You can just select choose column, and here there's a option, okay, I need only product ID, date, zip and units. I don't need these 2 fields. I can just deselect it and click on OK. So this will happen. And at any point of time, if I want to revert any of the step, I can just click on the setting icons. Here I have removed the columns, but I click on the setting icons, what was done, and I can again select these 2 back if I want to. So everything will come back. Or if I want this step was not at all useful, I don't want this step, I can just delete on it. Also, if I want to see, here I have filtered some rows and I want to go back and see how my data looked prior to that, I can just click on any of the step and you see the data is changing. Okay, how it started from source and how it moved. So if I want to just see, okay, how was the data looking prior to this step, and if I want to go to this step only, or I want to delete everything from this step, I can just click on, you see, delete until end. So if I click on this, it will delete all the steps after this. So if I click on this, all these 3-4 steps after this will be deleted. So this is how you can go on changing your query afterwards. Also, if you feel something was done wrong, or if you feel, okay, I removed a column or I renamed something which is no longer required, you can just delete a single step. This will be applicable for any type of data source that you select. So this is about choosing and removing columns. Similarly, I can keep rows or I can remove rows. Suppose I'm importing a file which only I need the top 3 rows. I can select something like keep rows and I will say keep top 3 rows, or maybe keep bottom 3 rows. So everything else apart from that will be deleted. Similarly for remove rows. Now there's another option called split column. For example, I have a country name, but I want to create a column which will have just top first 3 letters of the country name, which will be used in the abbreviation in the report. So I select this column and I select on split column by delimiter. It can be by position, anything I need by number of characters. So I will say by number of characters, and I need the 3 characters once, not splitting into 3 and 3 and so on. Only one, as I need to split it. So it will split the this way, can and rest other, it will go, and GER for Germany, and rest will go in this place. Suppose you needed both of these. I needed Canada also full, and I needed one which this abbreviation, then I have to follow a different process. Let me just delete these 2 steps. In that case, what I will do is I will first duplicate this column. I can right click and say duplicate column. So I have the country name. This will remain as it is, and I will split this column. Or even there's another option which says extract. So I can even use this extract call option to say first characters. I need only the first 3 characters. So this will also help me in a similar manner, and it has extracted me for me, but it will not create another column. And I can say this is the country abbreviation. And if I want to convert it to, okay, it's the abbreviation, it should be all caps or something, then again in the transform, there's an option called format. So here you can say directly uppercase. So you see everything has replaced to uppercase character. The report should have data only after 1999, or some years should not be in the, from 2001 onwards we can just select this and we can remove this. So the data is filtered, okay, 99 and 2000 is removed from the report. Or we can also filter using this number filter, does not equal, it is greater than, less than, between, depending on, since it's a number field. If it's a text field, then the option will change, something like begins with, ends with, does not end with, and so on. So depending on the type of field it is, for example, if we go to international and it's a date field, then the filter option will change similarly, date filter. So it will say is after, is between, is in the next year, is in the previous year. So we get this sort of option also, is in the previous. And you see it will give in the previous this many days or something in the previous 5 years. So if you want to have a report which will always show, okay, the data relevant to the reporting purpose is only 2 years, so I will give this sort of a filter. No matter how the data goes on coming in the report, this particular query step will, okay, it will ensure that the data is only for the previous 2 years, nothing else goes into the reporting. So this type of dynamic filters can also be applied for date fields. Then there are options such as use first row as headers. It was available on the home page also. Here in the transform also that thing is there. If I want to put a count of the rows, it will be there. This move is something like I want to move this column to the first. I can just say move left, or I can say move to the beginning, it will move, or I can simply drag and drop the column also. And then we can add different columns here, conditional column or something. For example, if I want to define the products into group, depending on whether the product ID is greater than 1000 or less than 1000, I want to create a product group column. So I can use select product ID, and I can say in the add column a conditional column. So it will open a if else block. Here I will give the name of the column, or if I don't give a name here, I can rename it further also. Let me name it as product group. Now it will be if product ID, okay, is less than 1000, then group A, else group B. And here also you see there's a add clause. If there's a multiple if else statement, okay, it is less than 1000, then this. If it is less than 2000 but greater than this, then you can go on adding clauses using this. You can move the delete the step. Here you can add the clause, and it will else if statement will be going on adding depending on your requirement. Right now I just need one step, so I will click on this and say okay. So here you see I have a product group column. And as and when you feel okay, this is done, we can close and apply the steps. Another simple thing and very powerful in the sense is an option that Power BI provides is this enter data. Sometimes what happens is we need a static table, okay, a very small table which will just have a code and maybe a mapping to the description. I can just type it out here. I'll say enter data. This is what happens. A create table. I will say this is my, suppose, code mapping table. And here I need two columns. One is code, one is description. So it's not necessary that I'll write this in an Excel and then I will import it. I can directly write that here. And I have two codes, for example, A, B, and there's a description called A means group A and B means group B. I just click OK. And this will be a table created inside. So if there is such type of requirement which we need sometime, we want to provide specific slicers, a specific option to user, we can make use of this facility. Again, this can also be edited whenever you want to add something to it. You just go to the source, click on the settings icon, you add any column or row to this. Now, as the last topic for today, let me show you how to take data from website. Also, I have a website which is this UEFA European Championship. Suppose this is a website and I want to take this particular data, which will show me year and the winner for each year, which country was the winner for each year. Now this is a complete web page, but how do I take this particular data into report? So we'll take this particular link, click on OK. There's an advanced option if you want to break the URL or something. There's a part of a URL are there. Then you can provide the URL in parts here. Right now it's just a basic thing. So I'll select the basic URL and click on OK. What Power BI will do it will take the entire page, and wherever it will find different tables and documents, it will give me a huge list depending on that. So just let's wait for a moment. Okay, so you see there are so many tables on the page. Anyone who is aware with HTML coding and web pages will understand, okay, there are different table elements in the page. So this is how Power BI is giving me different tables. So if I select on any of this, it will give me a preview also. And these are not what I need. I want is this particular result set data, which is column year. And then I have final winners, scores, which I saw here also in this page, year, host, final, and so on. And this is what I need for my reporting purpose. So I'll just select this one. I will ignore rest of them and click OK. Now I have all these columns, but all I'm interested is in year and the final winners. I don't need anything else for the report. So I will select control, select the other column. And there is another option, either this keep these columns, I will remove other columns. Instead of removing each other column separately, I just need these two. Just select these two and say remove other columns. So everything else apart from this is removed. Or yes, we could also go for choose column. So there are multiple ways of doing the same thing. As and when you start using the tool, there will be one way which you will find more comfortable. You can go with that. Now I have this year and final. I need it as the header. So use first row as headers. It will come there. I don't need this particular row. So I want to delete this particular row. I can remove this. And I can also apply filters. So suppose one is there 1960 details. You see the year. Let me click on this. You see everything is there as 1960 details, 64 details, and so on. This details word doesn't make sense to me. So there's another option, that is you select a column. When you right click, you see an option called replace values. So when I click on this, it's something like we do control H in Excel. Okay, I want to replace certain values. So this is the same thing which happens here. I will say replace details with nothing. This is like, okay, just remove this. So it has come this way. Now there is something like this final winner and all Excel sheet. It has come this data which is not needed. So what we'll do here is we'll let all years be and we'll just remove this year part. So now we'll have just the year and the corresponding column here. And then it can be used for your reporting. We can rename this as winners list. This will take some time depending on the data volume that's there. You see the international files is in MB and so on. So this will take a bit of time depending on what the data is. Okay. So now we have the different files that we have loaded, but there's no relationship defined between them because we have not yet come to the relationship. We'll discuss about relationships in an upcoming session. But what happens is, suppose I have a country data here, this is the sales, and suppose I have a population data here, which is for again the country, and I will have some population also in a different sheet. So what I can do is I want to relate these two data where I can see, okay, for the country, what's the revenue and what's the population together, something like that. Then I have to define a relationship between these query and this query, which we'll talk about in an upcoming session. Similar to append queries, we have option called merge queries, which can also be used. And even in the desktop, we can go to the relationship tab and we can define the relationship. Both of these can be done. Talking about some other options that are in the query editor window, since we are talking about that, I'll walk you through those options also. For example, suppose we are selecting this query. There's a option called advanced editor, which also can be used to see, okay, if there is any particular, what are the steps used. And once some people are more comfortable, okay, directly they go, and suppose the file location or file path changes someday, they can just go and edit the file path here also. It depends. And sometimes what happens is we are more comfortable using this UI, so we can just click on this UI and change the source from here. Sometimes what happens is we want to share, okay, I have done a complex data transformation and I want to share the steps of the editor. So I can go here, copy the steps and send to someone. Okay, he or she can use the steps and just change the path and directly copy in the report. Suppose I create a blank query and I will just paste these steps in the advanced editor. So every transformation step will automatically be done instead of me going through the entire process again. So in those cases, this advanced editor comes very handy. Even if you go to, and here it's not view the formula bar. So if I enable this one, so whenever I am changing a step, you see corresponding formula is coming up here. And even for best practice and best data modeling practices, it is always suggested that do rename these steps accordingly. Like suppose I am removing one column, or I'm filtering, for example, for country, it's suggested that just go there and rename the step as filtered for country. So that what happens is when someone else is trying to understand your report, or even when you come to this report after a certain time, you will understand, okay, how these steps are there, or where to, okay, I know I had applied the filter for query, but I will not go and see, okay, where the filters are applied. Maybe there are 5-6 filter steps, so I don't have to search for them. So these are some of the practices that have to be kept in mind while we are working. And then there is something called a query dependencies tab, which becomes handy when we are having multiple queries, and what happens is one query depends on other. Let me just zoom this a bit. So then I can understand the query dependency. Okay, how does one query impact other query? For example, if I click the international folder, you see everything that is related to it comes highlighted in yellow, which says, okay, from international, I have taken the sample file, and then it has transformed everything into this international folder, because there are multiple files, but these all things are not related to it. When I click on the web, I see only one thing is highlighted in yellow, which means only my winner list data is impacted by it. If I would have joined this to some other query, that will also become highlighted. So these all things become handy when you have a complex model and then you want to understand, okay, if I delete this particular field, what are queries will get impacted if I delete this query. So in that cases, you can use this query dependencies filter. And there are other options also in transform similar to replace value. We have fill, we have, I showed you unpivot, we can use pivot also. And then again, this data type is something which is similar to what we showed in the first tab also, data type, or we can right click and do the data type. And then we have, I showed you how to add a conditional column, but we can also duplicate a column, or we can write a custom column. What happens in a custom column is, okay, there are guys who are asking for sample data. Again, you admin team will respond to you regarding that. Okay. So now you see, are you going to insert a step? I'm trying to create a custom column here and not something through the conditional column. So here I have a column formula. And this will, here I can write and type in a column formula. And the formula, if you want to understand, there's a Microsoft column which is Power Formulas, which I used. You will get this link. If you click on this link, you will get the list of all the formulas they are there. Basically what happens is, if I want to, suppose there's a date field, I want to convert this, or I want to take if else statement, I can write it here also. If, then I can say product ID is greater than something 1000. Then, so here what happens is, whatever is not applicable separately, like conditional or something, here if you want to write some complex formulas, then this will come very handy. And if you click on this link, it will take you to the list of all formulas that are applicable here. So when you start working on to details, and when you start applying more and more complex formulas, this is what Power Query M formula queries. So here you will see the list of different formulas that can be applied. So this does, when you're working in to projects and when you're working into actual business cases, many a time only this conditional column doesn't help us. Then we have to go for this custom column, and then we have to write in on our own formulas to satisfy the requirement. Sometimes you need an index column in the report also, then we can directly use this index column. So this will add an index here in the table. Also, index column has an option if you want to start from 0, start from 1, or you want to customize it, then also it will ask for the custom properties. That, okay, what is the starting index, what is the increment. So if you need something like that, you can directly make use of this. Extract, I have already shown you. Format and extract options are already shown. If you want to have some standard, this add multiply formula, then you can go for here, or trigonometry, or round of the values to some. For example, this is a numeric field. I can round up, round down, or round it to some particular number of digits. So this is how I can go on working around depending on different types of data type. And this is just about, okay, how if you want to see something, query dependencies, formula bar, I want to hide it, I want to show the white space, column quality and all. So this will be used then. And then there's a group by option. So group by, if you people are aware of SQL queries and all, this group by will come in handy. Suppose I want to have a table which will just group by, give me a zip and the sum of revenue by the zip. So I can just click on zip. I can say group by. One second, let me cancel. After this, I will add this. So zip and group by. Here it opens up. You can go to the advanced mode if you want to group by multiple columns. If you want to group by a single column, you can use basic. So I say basic, zip, group by. I want to sum of revenue and maybe advanced, I want to add another aggregation, which is a sum of units as well. And here I can give the name of the column. There's some issue with the data. I think there is some data which is not of a numeric type or something. Let us go for us just filtering the data to keep it narrow. And this zip, I will change type to text and then try to group it. You can just create an aggregated table with zip and the sum of revenue. Hello, are you all able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think there was some disturbance in the mid. I don't know. I hope you are able to hear me. So the last topic I was discussing about was the group by. I hope you all followed that topic. So this was the last one for this session today. I've covered most of the options that are available in the Power Query Editor pane, and we will discuss in details tomorrow about this particular report, visualizations, adding the visualization and formatting. That's the topic for tomorrow. For
We are
today,
not able to see your screen. I think you didn't share it.
oh, okay, it was okay. Let me share again. There's some disturbance. Okay. You're able to see now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So this group by was clear. This is the last topic that I was talking about. This group by option is clear, or should I show it again?
If you can show it again.
Okay, no problem. Let me delete this step. Okay, here suppose I want to create an aggregated table which will show me year and the sum of population. So I just select the year, go to the group by, and here I give the name as required. Suppose sum of population. The aggregation function that's needed. Right now I need the sum. If I need max, min, average, I can select per my requirement. I need the sum, and the sum of which column? So the sum of column population. Click on it, it creates the aggregated table this way. So if this is what is needed in the report, we can just use the group by option. We can group by multiple columns also, and we can have the aggregation of multiple columns. Suppose I had sum of population, sum of revenue, that could also be done together. So this is all for today. Try to cover maximum of the options that are available in the Power Query Editor, but as and more you start working, you will explore different options. Tomorrow we'll discuss about the visualization and this particular pane, how to create a report and how to add visuals and how to format it further. That will be the topic for tomorrow. So I hope you all got some insights today into Power Query Editor and the different options.